What's up everyone, and welcome to another movie review, and this time I am talking about Red 2, a sequel to, of course, Red, a movie I really enjoyed, and it was directed by the guy that did R.I.P.D., which is kind of weird because Red 2 came out the same weekend as R.I.P.D., which is directed by the guy that did Red 1, who didn't do Red 2, and also Ryan Reynolds from R.I.P.D. is not in this, but Mary Louise Parker is in this one. But Ryan Reynolds is also in Turbo. There's so many connections to movies from other movies that came out this week. I don't know. Conjuring has no connection to any other movie that came out this week, but everything else does. But anyway, I don't know where that came from. But anyway, Red 2 I was looking forward to because I very much enjoyed the first one. I thought it was a very fun movie. Everybody was great. It was very funny. Action was great. I just really enjoyed it. So I was looking forward to Red 2. But did I enjoy it? Well, let's talk about the story. Alright, so the story for Red 2, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to explain it real quick. The story here follows Frank Moses, played by Bruce Willis once again, who wants to settle down with his girlfriend Sarah, Mary Louise Parker from the first film. And he really just wants to settle down, but Sarah kind of, she wants to get back into the espionage, the CIA agent, the badass stuff. But he wants to settle down because he's had enough. But of course, the government, or CIA, comes back and tries to capture Frank Moses because they think he knows where a nuclear bomb is. Now, this nuclear bomb was made like 30 years ago, 30 years ago, and it was actually taken apart and then reassembled somewhere else, but they don't know where it is. And they think he knows where it is. He doesn't. He gets the gang back together. He gets John Malkovich, Helen Mirren, a bunch of other people, and they have to go and find out who made this bomb. They already know who made the bomb, but they have to go and find this person, played by Anthony Hopkins, find the bomb itself, kick some ass along the way, and that's the story. That's all I'm explaining. That's it. Well, the story itself does sound pretty simple. Maybe not, simple seeing that I explained it, but it is very simple if you think about it. But what the movie does, it's just very muddled and very confusing at times. They talk a lot in this film at times, and they just go from scene to scene, like, oh, we have to go here, and now they're there, and we have to go here, and now they're there. It's so jumbled and so confusing at times. I had no idea what was going on. They were just saying, now we have to go here, and I'm like, okay, fine. I don't know why. They probably explained it, but they did it in such a rushed way. I don't care. Just go there. I don't care. And it was just so rushed, and I don't know, I just did not care for the story, and even though the movie at times can have some pretty funny parts, for the most part, it's just not that funny, especially since, the first one was actually pretty damn funny. This one, I was like, oh, that's not that, or, oh, it was like chuckle-worthy, but it wasn't amusing me as much as the first film. So the story here is just very muddled, very confusing. Luckily, everybody's having a good time. Bruce Willis still seems like he's having a really fun time with Frank Moses. When it gets to the action, he's doing a damn good job, like he usually always does, and he's great there. Helen Mirren still as badass as ever. I mean, she's a badass in this. Even though there's times where you can obviously tell she's not firing a gun or whatever. Just her holding a big-ass sniper, or just two guns while driving, shooting other cars. It's badass. John Malkovich is actually pretty funny here. I would say he has most of the laughs. Like 2 or 3 times he's actually really funny here. Mary Louise Parker, I have to admit, she was kind of annoying here at times, but there was times where, okay, I kind of like her. She's coming in her own as a character, as one of these agents, I should say, like one of these badasses. She's kind of getting into there. She's still kind of annoying, but I don't know, if there's a third one, maybe she'll fit in a little bit better. But yeah, there's times where she does get a little annoying, trying to upstage everybody, and trying to make funny jokes. Anthony Hopkins is great here. At first he's like the loony type guy, and then later on he kind of just gets into, just a typical, I don't want to spoil it, but a typical a typical bad guy, but at first he's actually kind of loony, he's kind of crazy, and I actually like that, but then he just turns into a typical bad guy. Everybody else did a great job here as well. Catherine Zeta-Jones is in it, she's great. Who else? Everybody did a great job. Everybody's having a good time, and for the most part, I really enjoyed myself as well. For the most part, even though I didn't really understand what was going on in the plot sometimes, and it wasn't as funny as the first movie, there is some really good action here. Some really good set pieces. I really enjoyed some of the action, definitely, especially when Bruce Willis and, what's his name? Bong Hun Lee is in the film. He played Storm Shadow in G.I. Joe. He is a badass in this film. I forgot to mention him. He's actually great. He actually has personality. He actually made me laugh a couple times. And he's a badass. Whenever they have like a fight scene or just him alone, Bong Hun Lee has a fight scene, it's badass. So there's actually some really good action scenes here. There's a couple cool car chases. Special effects for the most part aren't that great, but you know what? They look okay. And it kind of fits the comedic just the comedic mode of the actual story. So overall, I think Red 2 is definitely not as good as the first one. It has some story problems. It's not as funny. Even though the action, I think, is really fun here, it's not as good as the first one. But I still enjoyed it for the most part. It's not great. At times it can get a little bit boring. But when I came out of the theater, I was like, okay, I'm happy. It's not as bad as some critics have been saying, just like I said about R.I.P.D. But I'm actually going to give this a little bit lower than R.I.P.D. because it was a little bit too long, too. It was like 2 hours long. It didn't need to be that long. It could have been 90 minutes. I would have been fine. So I'm going to give it a 25 out of 40. It's definitely not amazing, but it's fun. There you go. There's my review for Red 2. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you, and goodbye.